Welcome back to part 3 of our explainer on the EU Customs Reform 2026. Up until now, we've mostly been in the weeds looking at the technical details, but today is where it gets really fascinating. You see, the EU loves to pitch this whole thing as a straightforward modernization measure. More digitization, more transparency, better controls. And honestly, that sounds absolutely great on paper, right? But today we're looking right past all that political spin. We're stripping this down to the bare naked economic facts to answer the real questions. Who actually profits from this starting in 2026? And, maybe more importantly, who is going to pay the price? To wrap our heads around this huge market shift, we're going to hit 5 quick reality checks. The endless package avalanche, the big winners, the biggest losers, special regions and consumers, and finally, the new power distribution. All right, let's jump straight into number 1, the endless package avalanche. The current sorting centers, they're literally collapsing under the pressure right now. Doing manual checks has become completely, utterly impossible. And that brings us to a, frankly, staggering projection, 5.9 billion. Just to put that into perspective, for the year 2025 alone, we are staring down the barrel of nearly 5.9 billion small shipments hitting the EU. Billions with a B. We're basically talking about flying in almost one package for every single EU citizen, almost every single month. It's totally wild. Here's the part that really blows my mind. When you look at where all this stuff is coming from, a massive 93% originates directly from China. Just think about that for a second. One single origin point is completely dominating this entire import flood. The rest of the world, the whole globe, they make up a mere 7%. Now, looking ahead to 2026, the full scope of this crisis becomes crystal clear. We have to separate the data cleanly here. Without this reform, this mountain of packages is expected to surge to somewhere between 7 and 7.5 billion. I mean, that would be over 20 million packages crossing the border every single day. So, this reform isn't just some political whim. It is a digital dam being hastily built out of pure damage control just to keep the European infrastructure from completely washing away. With the new rules in place, estimates suggest the market might actually stabilize back down around 5 billion shipments. Okay, moving right along to part 2, the big winners. So, who actually stands safely on the dry side of this new digital dam? Well, right at the front, obviously, are the EU customs authorities. Thanks to all this advanced data, they finally get the reins back and can run automated risk analyses. But looking at the pure economics, global logistics giants, your DHLs, UPSs, FedExes, they are sitting pretty. Why? Because they've already pumped incredible amounts of cash into their digital infrastructure and customs experts over the last few years. But the absolute biggest economic profiteers of this entire shift, hands down, it's the giant e-commerce platforms. We're talking Amazon, AliExpress, Temu, Shein. These tech giants operate these massive, highly automated, completely data-driven networks. And that is exactly the kind of environment this new EU reform practically demands. Sure, the reform brings some enormous compliance headaches, no doubt, but let's be real, these giants, they are going to easily absorb those costs. They have the massive IT departments, armies of tax lawyers, and most importantly, the deep pockets to clear these hurdles without breaking a sweat. So while smaller competitors are practically choking on all this new bureaucracy, the big guys will just swallow that initial investment and flip this hurdle into a massive competitive advantage. They're going to expand their monopolies even further. It is a literal game changer for them. Which brings us to part 3, the biggest losers. Because, it's always the same story. New rules generate new costs. And that financial and bureaucratic burden inevitably crushes anyone who doesn't have unlimited resources. It massively disrupts the delicate balance of the global market. Think about the old reality for a second. A small, independent merchant in Asia selling directly to a buyer in Europe. Come 2026, they are facing a literal mountain of red tape. The new data requirements and tech standards are going to be so astronomically high that they'll likely have to surrender their independence entirely. The 2026 reality is forced subordination. They'll have no choice but to fold themselves into those massive e-commerce platforms we just talked about. And man, it gets harsher. Any player in this chain who can't perfectly, and I mean flawlessly, comply with these rigid new digital standards is in for a really rude awakening. Bad data now equals instant delays and extra costs. Submit a typo or poor data, and bam, you face immediate, crippling financial penalties. Or your deliveries just get completely halted. There is literally zero room for error anymore. All right, let's look at part 4, special regions and consumers. Let's zoom in on the collateral damage for a minute. The Canary Islands are actually a perfect example of this.
Politically, sure, they belong to the EU, but logistically and for taxes, they don't use the standard European VAT. They actually have their own unique local tax called the IGIC. And the European IT system for customs, the IOSS, simply does not speak the same language as the Canary system. For deliveries to keep flowing there, these platforms would have to build their own custom, super expensive digital bridges. And remember the golden rule of business? Special rules always mean extra costs. Companies run on efficiency, right? So if building that digital bridge for a relatively small market is deemed too pricey, these platforms are just going to pull the plug. They'll just stop delivering there altogether.
So what does this whole shebang mean for the rest of us, the everyday consumers? It's kind of a paradox, actually. On one hand, yeah, we'll probably enjoy much faster customs clearance when we buy from the big guys. No more annoying surprise fees when the delivery guy shows up at your door, which is great. But on the flip side, the bill for these gigantic IT upgrades has to land somewhere. And spoiler alert, it usually lands on us. Bottom line, we are looking at higher overall prices, way less competition between merchants, fewer choices, and, as we just saw, potential total delivery blackouts in certain regions.
And that leads us to our final point, Part 5, the new power distribution.
When you start putting all these puzzle pieces together, what we are really witnessing is the death of the decentralized market. The entire flow of global trade is rewriting itself. Think about how it used to be. Responsibility was completely fragmented. The small merchant sold the item, the local post office shipped it, customs manually checked it at the border. Well, guys, that old model is completely dead as of 2026. The new flow of trade puts the e-commerce platform, and literally exclusively the platform, at the absolute dictatorial center of global trade. Step 1, the platform collects all your data up front. Step 2, the platform takes on full legal and tax liability. And Step 3, the platform dictates and controls the entire global process end to end. The real power? It's no longer about who makes the physical goods. It's about whoever controls that digital bottleneck.
So, it all boils down to this crucial point. The EU originally sparked this 2026 reform to save the European market, right? To build a dam against this unbelievable flood of 7.5 billion packages. But is the ultimate price for that rescue simply handing absolute, unchecked control of global online retail over to a handful of massive tech giants? Are we actually making shopping safer, or are we just making ourselves completely dependent on them? Think about that for a second. It's a massive, long-term philosophical cost for what is, essentially, an infrastructure rescue. And that wraps up today's Explainer. Stay curious, and I'll see you next time as we break down another fascinating topic.